Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome episode of YouthConnect. I'm Aiden.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Logan.
I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our YouthConnect. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome episode, as you heard before, of another cool and fresh of YouthConnect. We're going to have a whole bunch of awesome news for you guys today. But obviously, we should always go over the main important thing. What in the world is YouthConnect? Well, YouthConnect is a news, interest, entertainment show that was created during the pandemic for the community, by the community. Everyone here is of all abilities, and people here are ready to share with you some awesome news. You're going to get tons of news from entertainment, but you might even see some video game news, some all-important news like some weather and some sports news. You might get a little bit of cooking knowledge, or maybe your interesting fact of the day, or maybe some animal news, or maybe even some live music. There is so much here that you guys are going to love, and everybody here is working their hardest and want to be included in opportunities for acting, directing, writing, chefs, speakers, musicians, you name it, and we want to do it. Now, I will say this in advance. We will not be having Nebraska, but don't worry, you will get your favorite animal news and, of course, your very important good story news from Joshua, since he sent us a video. But what do we always have to start off with first? Well, if I remember correctly, the first thing we have to start off with is some gaming news. Okay, guys, so I have brought us something a little bit more interesting. And what did I bring back? Of course, we always have to bring back our Spotlight Game of the Week. Now, what is today's Spotlight Game of the Week? Well, I actually was searching through, trying to find you guys some interesting game that I think that you should check out. And actually, this game is quite interesting because I thought to myself, wait a minute, isn't this just Mega Man? Well, it's very, very close. But I want to show you a really awesome Mega Man game, or Mega Man fan game as it's called 30XX. So what is 30XX? Well, it combines the crisp controls and fluid movement you love from action platformers like Mega Man X and the replayability of a modern roguelike. You heard me right. So you guys have the gameplay of Mega Man, or like the Mega Man series, but more specifically Mega Man X, but also the replayability of classic modern roguelikes. And honestly, that means that every single time you join a game, it will never be exactly the same. So what's the story? You guys have to awaken 1,000 years after 20XX to realize that the world that you needed, or technically needed you, is gone. And it has been changed irreversibly by the advent of the synthetic mind and a human race that's lost the will to reach for the stars. You must explore the lush, verdant prison our world has become and fight to save what remains. The famous quote from this game is to rise, fight, fall, and adapt. So that means that there is going to be an endless cycle. It is going to be rinse and repeat until you can make it to the end of this game. So why do I like this game so much? Well, it's a game that mixes in some of my favorite games ever, because if you guys know with modern roguelikes, some of them, for example, Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, and Dead Cells, actually 3 games we've talked about, these games are awesome because no matter how many times you play it, it will always be different no matter what. So having a Mega Man game that's sort of like a randomized version of it, this sounds quite interesting. It has amazing 2D visuals. It looks outstanding. And if it has all of these check marks done, that sounds like a fun game. There's skill trees, there's this, there's that. There's so much for this game that it has to offer for you. I'm going to be playing it later, maybe even on the weekend. But for now, I recommend that you guys check out 30XX, not 20XX, because that was the older game. But 30XX, it's really, really cool if you love 2D games and modern roguelikes. Anyways, though, who's up next? I think next up is Kevin with some all-important news. I just cannot wait to hear what he has to share with us today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to YouthConnect with myself, Kevin Aruja. So that being said, let's go to the headlines. 5 years after plan approved, construction begins on Toronto First Housing Now site in Etobicoke. Some developers receive preferential treatment in opening of Greenbelt. The waste sharks are making a splash in Toronto Harbor. And Toronto Maple Leafs at goaltending depth with veteran Martin Jones. Ground has been broken on Toronto's first Housing Now project 5 years after the City Council approved a plan to use surplus City of Toronto owned lands to build affordable housing and mixed income communities near transit. On Wednesday, politicians and stakeholders gathered to symbolically put shovels in the ground in a new 725 unit rental housing development at 5207 Dundas Street West in Etobicoke. The city, in partnership with Create.co, which is Toronto's real estate agency, is working with Kilmer Group and Tricon Residential to construct a new building which will have 218 affordable units, some of which will be deeply affordable, and 507 market rate rental suites ranging in size from 1 to 4 bedrooms. The building will also have amenities and services as well as retail and public spaces. Occupancy is expected in about 4.5 years. This new development is located on one of the 7 parcels of an 18-acre site in the former Six Points area, which is known as Spaghetti Junction. The city invested $77 million to decommission the complex interchange and transform it into the new network of streets. Back in early May, the City Council adopted the program's 2023 Progress Update Report, which recommended urgent actions for all levels of government to unlock purpose-built, affordable, and market rental housing supply in all neighborhoods across Toronto. The Ontario government's decision to open parts of the Green Belt for housing favored certain developers, lacked transparency, and failed to consider environmental, agriculture, and financial impacts. A scathing report by the province auditor general had suggested, of the 7,400 acres of land removed from the Greenbelt, the report found that 92% could be tied to 3 developers with direct access to the Mount Housing Ministry. The report also found that the 14 of the 15 sites were proposed directly by Housing Minister Steve Clark's Chief of Staff Ryan Amato. The remaining site was proposed by a 6-person team of public servants tasked with assessing land sites for possible removal. According to the report, Amato altered criteria for land removal when most of the sites would not be approved with those parameters and implemented a 3-week timeline on the assessments. The report found, had to operate under strict confidentiality terms that prevented them from contacting partner ministries as well as municipalities and conservation authorities. The goal was to build at least 50,000 homes in the Greenbelt land, with construction beginning no later than 2025. There's something lurking in the Toronto Harbor with an insatiable appetite for garbage. On Wednesday, Ports Toronto announced the Canadian debut of its new Aquadrome pilot project, which used a Dutch-made waste shark to help clean up trash. Ports Toronto acquired the 2 waste sharks dubbed Ebb and Flow following a public naming contest earlier this year through a grant supported by the Netherlands Foreign Affairs Ministry. Halloran said the company behind the Aquadrome, Ranmary, had heard of the success of Ports Toronto's so-called trash trapping program and wanted to get involved with what she described as a Roomba vacuum for the water. Since 2019, the garbage collecting program, in partnership with the University of Toronto, has been making waves with the Australian-made sea bins. which sits on the water surface and suck trash into the catch bag with the pump. So far, but Palarin said those bins have removed hundreds of thousands of pieces of microplastics and other junks from the harbor, of which Port Toronto has started to categorize over the last 2 years. The waste sharks will add to that effort and can be controlled via remote control or programmed to operate autonomously for up to 6 hours at a time. At least but not least in the sports news, the Toronto Maple Leafs have signed goaltender Martin Jones to a 1-year contract with worth of 875,000 US dollars. The 33-year-old from North Vancouver, BC, brings a wealth of experience to the team with a record of 225 out of 163 out of 35 in a 444 career regular season and NHL games with the Los Angeles, San Jose, Philadelphia, and Seattle. He holds a 2.71 goals against average and a 905 save percentage with a 28 shutouts. Jones have a 27 or 13 or 3 records with a 2.99 goal against average, 0.887 save percentage, and 3 shutouts last season with the Kraken. He was a backup to Jonathan Quick when the Los Angeles Kings won the 2014 Stanley Cup. He appeared in 2 playoff games during the run and did not surrender a goal in 56 minutes of action. As a starting goaltender, he backstopped the Sharks to the 2016 Cup final, where they lost in 6 games to Pittsburgh. Internationally, Jones contributed to Canada's gold medal win at the 2015 World Championship and a silver medal at the 2010 World Junior Championship. Jones added depth to a Leaf goaltending corps that includes veteran Ilya Samsonov, who was awarded in a 1-year, $3.55 million contract in arbitration this offseason, and rookie Joseph Woll. In today's weather forecast, we've got sunny this afternoon. The temperature is now 27 degrees. And tomorrow we will get at risk of a thunderstorm. The temperature will be 27 degrees. And now for the new topic for an interesting fact. I'm going to talk about my favorite food, my favorite fruit of all time. You guessed it. It's apple. So what is apple? I mean, of course, I'm a big apple eater. Some of us do. And apple picking in the falls is a must-do activity. Well, when we did the Path of Exploration Circle last year, one of our favorite studies was learned about Johnny Appleseeds through the book by David R. Collins and Lewis H. Rock. Despite our love for apples, there's a lot we didn't know about them. Here are some of the fun facts for kids that we found out about this iconic fruit. So the first fact is apples are a member of the rose family. What? The rose family? Yeah, apples along with pears, plums, cherries, and peaches are all members of the rose family of plants. The second fact is it takes about 40 apples to create 1 gallon of apple cider. Since I wasn't a fan of apple cider, or some of you guys do, this name has been as a surprise to us. Anywhere between 35 or 40 apples are needed to create 1 gallon of cider. And a third fact is apple float because they're 25% air. I don't know. But I even wonder why there's bobbing for apples and no other fruit. Really? The apple is made about of 25% air. That makes them more beyond and perfect for the watery game. And the fourth final fact is apples are healthy for you. Yes, you named it. You may have already gathered that apples are good for you, but did you know that they are free of cholesterol, fat, and of course sodium? With many Americans' diets are already high in those three things. Apples are a delicious and healthy alternative to prepackaged snacks. To get even more healthy benefits, don't peel your apple. There's a ton of fiber and antioxidants found in the apple's peel. An apple a day just may help to keep the doctor away. That's a fact. So, with that, we come to the end of my segment. Tune in for next week's news, weather, and our very own interesting fact. Seeing you back to Aiden.
Now, I will say this for everyone. Who here likes apples? So I'm going to have to ask everyone. I'm going to even ask the people that are watching right now. Do you guys like apples? Now, we'll ask Logan, who is our chef extraordinaire. Logan, do you like apples? And what is your favorite apple dish? Or am I putting you on the spot? I need to know.
Apple pie, no doubt about that.
All right. Apple pie is pretty simple. Jeff, do you like apples?
I love apples.
Do you have a favorite apple dish?
Apple juice.
Oh, that is a great apple
Oh,
choice.
good one.
Kevin,
Mine's
do
gotta
you
be
have a
apple
favorite
pie.
apple?
Sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry. Now, I will say, do you have a favorite apple, Kevin? Or
Fiji
favorite
apple.
dish?
Fiji apple.
Fiji apple? Now, what is your favorite apple dish?
Apple pie, literally.
Apple pie. I love apples. I love silken apples because they're my favorite apples in the whole wide world. And I love a delicious apple cobbler. Ooh, those are absolutely delicious. And thank you for reminding me, Kevin. But actually, guys, during the month of August to September is apple season. So remember, get your apples while they are still fresh. Because once October comes, there's going to be no more apples. I can't wait to make tons of delicious apple dishes. I got to stack up on some cinnamon after this. But thank you so much, Kevin. It's always great to hear that mishmash of sports, some local news. But my favorite to talk about is always the interesting fact of the day because it's always fun to hear it. Now, it is time to bring you your second gaming news. What's going on in the gaming world? Well, I got you something that's quite interesting. So, guys, Nintendo Switch Online released its very first Game Boy Pokemon game. Oh, what is it? Well, it's going to be on the way of the trading card RPG adaptation, the Pokemon trading card game. Say what? Guys, what is the Pokemon trading card game? Well, I know about Pokemon trading cards, but what is the trading card game? Now, obviously, if anyone's overwhelmed by the cost or buying and collecting these actual Pokemon cards, well, now you can check it out on the Nintendo Switch app on the Game Boy version for anyone who has Nintendo Switch Online. Now, what is the Pokemon trading card game? It's like Pokemon Red or Blue, which lets you pick one of three starter deck themed, or one of the three starter themed decks. And then it sees you travel around the map battling club masters until you eventually defeat the card game's version of the Elite Four and collect 226 cards that are in the game. How interesting is that? But I also have something really, really interesting, and I know my mom is going to absolutely love this. The Pokemon Company revealed that Pokemon Stadium 2 for Nintendo 64 is also on the Switch's online subscription library as well. Now, it has been said that Pokemon Stadium 2 is largely better than the first one, especially on the multiplayer front, which Switch Online supports. It also includes creatures from Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal, including Lugia, Ho-Oh, and a bunch of other legendaries. Now, it is still unclear what this means of the future of the mainline franchise on Nintendo's retro service, because you guys know we're waiting for those classic games to come out. So hopefully, since Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are joining this expansion pack of the Nintendo Switch Online series, hopefully that means we'll get Pokemon Gold and Silver and Pokemon Ruby and Emerald maybe real soon. But we'll have to wait patiently because technically fate has to decide if we can or can't get them. Oh, but please, I really, 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 really want it. Thank you so much. But now, who's up next? Next up is Joshua, and he's going to be bringing us some good story news and, of course, fan favorite animal news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to YouthConnect. Now for good news story. A 7-year-old boy born without an arm has been able to hold a fishing rod with two ends for the first time. Alex Sparks spent his birthdays wishing his arm would grow, but now he's happily casting a fishing rod light along his dad using a new life-changing $16,000 prosthetic limb. The prosthetic arm was a gift from Britain's kindest plumber James Anderson, who was touched by Alex's story. His mother Dion said she had a normal pregnancy, but Alex was born without a limb. It was heartbreaking, especially later when the boy went to school and young kids were afraid of him because of his missing arm. He had been on the list of the UK patients due to receive a prosthetic arm from the National Health Services before the pandemic, but 3 years later he was still waiting in Lancashire, England. After his parents attended an event sponsored by a company called Open Bionics, which makes a robotic arm so advanced that it allows wearers to pick up a pin small with its fingers. They launched a crowdfunding effort to raise the $16,000 needed to purchase the arm, which they said would be life-changing for Alex. When plumber James saw the online appeal, he was deeply touched with Alex and offered to pay for the arm. And Alex is elated to have finally fulfilled his lifelong dream of holding a fishing rod on his own for the first time during a fishing trip with his dad, thus being able to catch his own fish. Because of this generosity, Alex has been able to put his fish on his toothbrush for the first time and will learn how to tie his shoelaces. It also gives him the independence of pouring a drink himself and not needing any help, and he can fully get dressed by himself. Now that he's got an arm, he can do everyday things normally, and that is him feeling like he's complete. How cool is that, having his own bionic arm? Now for another good news story. In New Zealand, a young boy has become the Mountbatten World's youngest recipient of the Mountbatten Award after saving his younger brother from a treacherous stretch of coastal water last year. The hero was 14-year-old Kalia Gamaj, who was half paralyzed his mother with fear when he saw his brother being pulled out to sea by 3 meters waves and said to her, "Okay, Mom, I'm going out. I might not be back." 12-year-old Kim was a good swimmer in his own right, but couldn't resist being ripped off his feet by several large waves that broke ashore on Crystal Beach in South Otago, New Zealand. Kalia jumped into the frigid water and had little difficulty reaching his brother, but became nervous but whether he could reach the shore, but was relieved that they did, cold and tired but alive. Those swimming skills and rescue, they afforded Kalia the 2022 Mountbatten Award, which is given to a single member of the whole British Commonwealth per year. That is over 2 billion people in 56 countries. While his high school and even in the New Zealand government expressed their pride at Kalia's bravery and presence of mind, the greatest reward will of course be having his brother around for many decades to come. What an incredible rescue story. Now turning to animal interest news. A German Shepherd has taken a clutch of abandoned ducklings under his wing and became their protective surrogate dad. The dog, named Ben, recently had a BFF relationship with an adult dog that flew away unexpectedly. Surprised he sensed that the newly attached ducklings were related. Ben and the ducklings bonded immediately, and now he spends most of his days watching over them as they sleep, eat, play, or have a bath. He even barks at the family if it dares get too close to his fluffy little family. Julie Maguire lives in Motueka, New Zealand, where the ducklings were found abandoned in a nearby stream by orchard workers who watched for 8 hours, but the mother duck never returned. So Julie agreed to care for them in her home until they could survive outdoors on their own. Julie says their dog, Ben, is extremely curious and immediately wanted to know what was going in the room where the newborns were being fed and napping in a cage. Julie says the ducklings deserve the best of life and that she's just happy to help them survive with having been so much fun with them growing up. Now that they're bigger, Julie let the ducklings roam free on her property. She says if they decided to fly away, I'm happy with that, but she couldn't believe that Ben will feel the same. What an adorable story, don't you think? This is Joseph Show reporting for YouthConnect. That's it for me now. Send it back to you, Aiden.
My goodness, that was a little bit fast from Joshua, but I did hear everything, and I thought The first and third news is absolutely amazing, and the second news as well. I think that my favorite one out of all of them was the German Shepherd, because honestly, it's amazing to see an animal of a different species take care of a youngling of a different species. It's always interesting to see that. But I mean, just like us, we can take care of other kids. Just because we can doesn't mean that other animals can't do that as well. And obviously, the first news was also really interesting. Imagine having a robotic arm. I mean, it sounds really, really cool, guys. I wonder if it's a really, really heavy arm, or if it's like a really, really light arm, like a real arm, or is it like super heavy? Makes me intrigued to know. But honestly, it's always awesome to hear all about Joshua's news. So what's going on next? Let's see what's on our schedule. I know what we have. We have our board of the week. Now, what our board game? Well, it's similar to our. It's a board game. No games from now on. It's only board game. Now, what board game do I have for you guys? I have a board going to absolutely love. This game called Colosseum. Now, what is Colosseum? In Colosseum, each player is a Roman impresario. Oh my goodness, that is a big word to use. Impresario. I'm just going to say it like that. Impresario. Producing great spectacles in his or her arena in the hopes of attracting most spectators. Players earn wealth and glory for each event.
I think something happened to Aiden.
I think
Oh
so.
man, it's terrible.
Oh no, I can't believe we lost him.
Aiden, are you there?
Are you there? Might be connecting, reconnecting.
I guess he left by accident.
I guess so.
I think, Logan, I think you should start the thing. I guess it's your turn.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn now. So, hi, I am Logan, and welcome back. So, today will be the third part of the multi-part series on sauces. In the previous episode, I covered condiment sauces, and so for this episode, I will talk about fruit preserves, stuff like jams and jellies. So, starting off with jam. So, jam is created by combining mashed fruit with sugar and just simmering it until it's thick. So, what's interesting about jam is that it is thickened with a chemical called pectin that is found naturally inside the fruit and is extracted during the simmering process. And so, from there, it's basically jarred, stored in the fridge to let the jam set and thicken. And that is basically it for jam. So chutney is next, and it is a variation of jam that is more typically used for more savory applications. Oftentimes, Vinegar, spices, and vegetables are also added to chutney to aid in these savory applications. They're more commonly made with more tropical fruits like mango or pineapple. They're pretty, it's a pretty common ingredient used in different Middle Eastern cuisines. So the next preserve I'll talk about is jelly. So jelly is a lot similar to jam in how it's initially created. Same mashing the fruit with the sugar, and it's also thickened with pectin like jam. But it also has the additional step of being strained. So you just strain all the fruit solids out, and you're basically left with a clear pectin-filled liquid that will set in the fridge into jelly. And from there, it's usually blended into a lot more of a smoother consistency. So another version of jelly that I haven't talked about yet is marmalade. So marmalade is a type of jelly that's specifically made from oranges. They're typically made using from a very specific kind of orange called a civil sour orange. Now, as the name would suggest, these oranges are quite sour, and so marmalade is also typically quite sour. But the main reason why they're used is because they are full of lots and lots of seeds, and these seeds have a very high concentration of pectin, that thickening chemical. And so the fruit pulp and the seeds are usually simmered with the orange juice and sugar. Along with that, the fruit peel is also cut into very little pieces and simmered along with the juice, all in an attempt to extract a large amount of that pectin. So marmalade can be made with any other citrus fruit like lemons or limes or grapefruits, but they are most commonly made using oranges, and specifically the civil sour oranges. So anyway, I think that would just about conclude today's episode on fruit preserves. Let's see where we can take it away from here.
I think I'll take it. I'll take it the music now. So, hello everybody. Welcome to welcome to YouthConnect, and I'm going to be playing an original song called "It's Never Gonna Happen." So hope you enjoy. It's never gonna happen. You're never gonna care. You're never gonna feel what you want here. 'Cause I'm a teenager with tons of hair, like a giant fluffy big brown bear. I listen to music that will freak the soul. My moods are like ocean, ebb and flow. Curl your toes and wiggle your nose. I'm gonna stare, so you wanna get mad and scream. Just let it go, just realize I'm in a cocoon, gonna hatch soon, waiting to become me. But it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna care. You're never gonna be the one you wanted. You're never the one you wanted. 'Cause I'm a teenager with tons of hair. My eating habits are like cheese and chips. My heart is broken like and it slips. I watch you laugh, dance and sing, and wonder why you never ring. You are my soother, and that's probably why you call me a loser. Stop asking me to be more like someone else. I cannot pretend. I need your love. I need to love yourself. I'm gonna go in. You're under my skin, but it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna care. Never gonna feel what you want it. Cause I'm a teenager with tons of hair. My eating habits are like cheese and chips. My heart is broken, dark like and it slips. I watch you laugh, dance and sing, and wonder why you never ring. And that's probably why you were called. You are my sister. And that's probably why you call me a loser. I'm asking, stop asking me to be more like someone else. I cannot pretend. I need your love myself. I'm gonna win under your skin, but it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna care. Never gonna feel what you wanted. So come on, baby, please be there. Open your heart to the possibility. Don't look at me and my disability. So come on, baby, please be fair. But it's never gonna happen. You're never gonna care. You're never gonna feel what you want it. Thank you, everybody. This is Jeffrey, your live musician. I see you all next week, and it's back to Aiden if he's there. Bye, everybody.
Guys, I apologize for the disconnection, but guys, I have to say this. Thank you so much, Logan, and thank you so much, Jeff and Kevin, for helping me get through this by being very flexible brain and you know what, overcoming this slight issue. Obviously, you guys know equipment issues always happen, but you guys had a flexible brain and you guys overcame it. I want to give you guys 2 thumbs up, and I just want to say thank you so much. Honestly, though, guys, I was listening I was trying my best to listen. I heard the end, Jeff. Sounded amazing. But we have reached the end of our Youth Connect. If you did like this show, please like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click for notification bell.
I just want to say one more time, thank you, crew, so much for being flexible brain, guys. And it really shows that community can always help each other out, always, if they put their minds together. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and we will see you all next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.